morning, everybody. This is Pastor Barbara. Today is the 23rd of August, 2015. It's been a real busy week. It's going to be a busy day. It's going to be an even busier week. We are studying something that, frankly, I have never taught before. I never saw it as something that from time to time in the Old Testament and even in the New, we have a reference to the Levirate, or as I've always pronounced it, the Levirate law. But even since years later it was brought up to Jesus, we do have mention from time to time in the Bible about it. So today we're going to start our second lesson. Now, this is already problematical because the first lesson is not recorded. Last Sunday morning, I wasn't able, I can't even remember now, I think it was due to a problem with one of the cameras, that I had only one computer at my disposal, and we did the live broadcast. It's been a very difficult week. I'm hoping that by tonight or tomorrow, I have lesson number 1 recorded. So those of you that missed it, today's lesson will make more sense. Hopefully this one is recording okay, and you may get this one before you get lesson number 1. The Levirate law was not a New Testament law. It isn't anything we have to wonder, is it something we have to understand? Is it something we should know, something we should be doing? Because this was long before the cross of Calvary. But neither does the law of Moses have anything to do with today's lesson. Because, as we're going to find out in just a moment, the law of Moses for that matter, it does not exist. And so nothing that we're going to discuss this morning is addressed in the law of Moses. So we are in a time in biblical history where there are no laws of God in effect. You probably, if you're, and we have many viewers who are not from the United States, but those of you who are, you've heard about the law of the West. Shortly after the U.S. was accidentally discovered by those who came here first, and our eastern shores were well populated, but as people came out west, they came to places where there were no towns, there were no societies, there were no laws. So people existed and coexisted, where each one did what he wanted to or what he thought he should do. But there were no laws to be broken. Now, did God speak to people in those days? Did he tell them what he wanted them to do? Absolutely. God spoke to Abraham. and told Abraham that he and Sarah, his wife and half-sister, same father, different mothers, would be going to a place where he would send him. And when he got there, God had said, stay, this is where you're going to be. At the same time in history and in biblical history, another person lived. And we find in the books of Genesis that talk to us about Abraham, in the book of Job, we find similar things occurring. Why aren't the books of Abraham and Job together in the Bible? The word Bible means library. Comes from the same root word as bibliography, where you refer at the end of a report of many books that you consulted. The word Bible means, the root word means many books. And our Bibles are put together, Old Testament, New Testament. If you're Catholic, Old Testament, New Testament, and canonical books. The Old Testament is given to us as history, literature. Literature is stories, poems, songs, and so forth. Job falls in that second group. Abraham and the things that happened to him occur in the first of history. But time-wise, they lived at about the same time. You read the book of Job. Job was taking care of his family, visiting his sons, deciding what they needed, much as Abraham is, although he didn't have a lot of sons, as did Job. But in those days, there was, not only was there no written law, there was no spoken law. God communicated to Abraham his will and his desire, as he did to Job. I'm going to read from two books. The Catholic modern version, and simply because it has some notes here that I have placed in the margin I want to read. And also in the King James. I've talked a lot about different translations, and you all know my preferences. I believe you should read a Bible you understand. If you don't understand it, why read it? Read a Bible you understand. This is in very modern language. I and other Bible teachers like me question a few of the translations. Actually, this was never translated from Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic. Uh-oh,